It's just another day. You open your bank app, not because you're checking anything in particular, just out of habit, and there it is. The number, lower than it should be, lower than you expected, considering you worked the whole month. You close the app, open it again, the same number. You try to mentally recalculate where all the money went. The rent, the groceries, the subscriptions, that dinner out. But the math never adds up. There's always this difference. This silent, somewhat embarrassing difference between what you earned and what's left. And the worst part isn't the number itself. The worst part is that this has happened before. Not once, not twice. Every single month, with almost deliberate precision, you reach the end of the month and there's nothing left. Most people chalk it up to not earning enough. If I just made a little more, they think this problem would solve itself. But here's what's strange. People who get a raise often find themselves in the exact same position 3 months later. More money coming in, same empty feeling at the end of the month. The number changes, but the gap remains. This tells you something important. The problem isn't really about how much money you make. The problem is about something much harder to see. What's actually happening has to do with the way the modern world has quietly rewired your relationship with spending. Not through dramatic bad decisions, but through dozens of invisible, automatic, almost unconscious choices that feel completely rational in the moment. Every single one of them feels justified. Every single one. The coffee that wasn't a luxury, just a necessity after a hard morning. The subscription you forgot to cancel but will definitely cancel next month. The dinner you ordered because cooking felt impossible after the day you had. The item in the cart that wasn't expensive, just $5, just $12, just $19.99. None of these feel like problems. They feel like solutions, and that's exactly why they're so hard to stop. Your brain is not broken. Your brain is doing precisely what it was shaped to do, which is to seek relief from discomfort as quickly and efficiently as possible. And in the world we live in, the fastest, most accessible form of relief from almost any kind of discomfort is spending money. Tired, order food, stressed, buy something small online, bored, browse a store, sad, treat yourself. You deserve it. Every single one of these responses has been engineered. Not metaphorically, but literally engineered, by systems that exist to translate your emotional state into a transaction. The moment you feel friction in your day, there's an entire industry waiting to offer you a frictionless exit, and most of the time, you take it. Not because you're weak or irresponsible, but because it works. It genuinely makes you feel better, at least for a few minutes. This is where things get strange. When researchers study spending patterns in people who describe themselves as bad with money, they consistently find that the issue isn't large purchases. It's not the big television or the vacation or the expensive dinner. It's the accumulated weight of small emotional purchases that happen below the level of conscious decision making. These are purchases made not from a list, not from a plan, but from a feeling. A momentary feeling of friction, followed by a momentary purchase, followed by a momentary relief. Each cycle so fast and so small that it doesn't register as a decision at all. It registers as just life. Just getting through the day. And the month passes, and you've made maybe 2 or 3 real planned purchases, but hundreds of these micro decisions, each one invisible, each one justified, each one leaving a trace in your bank balance that seems to come from nowhere. There's a layer underneath this that most financial advice completely ignores, and it's the role that mental exhaustion plays in your spending. When you are cognitively drained, which in the modern world means most of the time, your capacity for self-regulation decreases significantly. Not slightly, significantly. The version of you at 9 a.m., rested, with coffee and some clarity about the day, makes genuinely different decisions than the version of you at 8 p.m. after a full workday, a commute, a difficult conversation, and 40 minutes of scrolling. That evening version of you doesn't just spend differently. That version spends more, thinks less about it, feels more justified doing it, and forgets it faster. The decision-making system that normally helps you pause and evaluate is running on low power. So you spend from impulse, and the impulse says, relief now, consequences later. This explains why so many people notice that their spending feels fine during the first week of the month and falls apart toward the end. It's not just that the money's running out, it's that you're running out. The fatigue accumulates, the mental load accumulates, and as it does, each small spending decision gets easier and easier to justify. You've already made so many decisions today. You've already held it together so many times this week. One small purchase isn't going to ruin anything. And technically, you're right, one small purchase won't. But the version of you who makes that reasoning is the same version of you who made it yesterday, and will make it again tomorrow, and that's the pattern. What most people miss is that this isn't a discipline problem. Framing it as discipline puts all the weight on your willpower, your character, your motivation, as if the solution is just to want it more, or to feel more guilty when you fail. That framing is not only unhelpful, it actively makes things worse, because guilt and shame after spending create their own emotional friction, which the brain then wants to relieve, which often leads to more spending. It's a loop. A quiet, exhausting loop that you've probably been inside for longer than you realize. The actual problem is structural. It's the structure of your day, the structure of your access to spending, and the structure of how money moves through your life before you even see it. And structural problems don't respond to motivational pressure. They respond to structural changes. Small, boring, not at all dramatic structural changes that remove the conditions that make impulse spending so automatic. Here's what that looks like in practice, and it doesn't require a personality transplant. The first thing to understand is that the gap in your account at the end of the month is not evidence of failure, it's evidence of a system with no friction. When spending requires zero effort, zero delay, zero awareness, it happens constantly. The goal isn't to feel more guilty about it. The goal is to add friction in the right places, not massive friction, not punishment. Just enough pause to let your prefrontal cortex catch up to your impulse. For some people, that means removing saved payment information from online stores so that purchasing requires one extra step. That step, entering a card number, sounds trivial, but in the moment of impulse, trivial friction is often enough to break the automatic cycle. The impulse passes, the purchase doesn't happen, not because of discipline, because of design. For others, it means giving money a destination before it sits in your account, feeling available. When money lands in your account and just sits there, it feels like abundance. It feels like permission. But if you move a defined amount immediately into a separate account for savings, bills, or a specific goal, what remains in your checking account is no longer money in general. It's spending money specifically. The psychological difference between those two categories is enormous, even if the number is the same. One feels limitless. One feels bounded. Bounded is what protects you. There's also the question of timing, and this is something almost nobody talks about. If you do your financial check-ins, your budget reviews, your spending assessments, at the end of the day, when you're drained, you will consistently underestimate your problem and overestimate your future self's ability to fix it. I'll be more careful next week is a thought that makes perfect sense at 9 p.m. on a Thursday. It makes less sense when you track how many times you've had that exact thought, moving financial awareness to the morning, or to moments when you actually have cognitive capacity. Changes what you're able to notice and what decisions you can actually make, not because you're smarter in the morning, because your self-regulation system is more available. The deeper truth underneath all of this is that you're not bad with money. You're a person with a normal human brain trying to survive a modern life that is genuinely exhausting, genuinely and genuinely full of systems designed to extract small amounts of money from you continuously, while making each individual transaction feel completely reasonable. The problem was never your character. The problem was always the design of the environment you're operating inside. And when you understand that, something shifts. You stop looking for motivation. You stop looking for the feeling of being ready to change. You start looking at the architecture of your daily life and asking, where is spending automatic? Where is friction missing? What is the emotional state I'm in when money disappears? Because those are the levers. Those are the places where small structural changes produce real, lasting results that don't depend on you being a different kind of person. The version of you at the end of next month doesn't need to be more disciplined. They need to be operating inside a slightly different structure, one where the automatic path leads somewhere better, where the gap between earning and keeping is smaller, not because you suffered more for it, but because you understood the pattern that was costing you. And understanding a pattern is always the first real thing. If this felt familiar, comment, no money left. It helps me know this is something more people are silently dealing with.